Okay, good morning, and this is going to be Pisces reading for the month of June in 2025. Oops. That's the second time that's popped out today. And there was a few tower cards drawn in the other suit, so let's see if that's what's going on for you, Pisces. So we'll do the numerical spread. Gosh, another jump out. Numerical spread, so that'll tell you about the beginning of the month, the middle of the month, and the end of the month. It'll also cover what your head's at, where your body's at, and the root of the happenings, the root of the happenings that's happening for you. Okay, let's get this started. So, Pisces, for June 2025. Okay, interesting. All right, let's begin. So for Pisces, in the beginning of the month sees you almost role-playing or preparing for something. This card's often talked to about anxiety, well, not anxiety, so fighting or that kind of thing. But in reality, they're not swords. They're not going to kill each other. They're just going to batter each other. So maybe perhaps at the beginning of the month you're feeling a little bit battered because you're trying to balance everything. The root of this is about happy life, happy wife maybe, or partner, and sort of trying to get all your, the balancing is important. And we've got sort of lots of this sort of 5, 4, 6. It's happening in 3, 2, so it's sort of very sequential. So let's move on. Middle of the month, you feel like you're rushing in to sort of problem solve perhaps, and that could be about work, but there's an element of historical response. So perhaps as you're rushing in to maybe sort of remedy this sort of fighting or this practice run of something, you're rushing in to do it, and in your head you're sort of thinking about the financial aspects of that. But the root of all it is actually probably something historic. The way you react perhaps is maybe a historical reaction. In the end of the month, it's about teamwork and applying yourself and working in a team. That might leave you feeling frustrated and a bit annoyed and haggard, but the root of all of this is a great promise of potential. So if we can look at that again, Pisces, of a beginning of the month, feeling like you're kind of in a bit of a role play. I keep getting that word role play, and thinking about having this sort of, I suppose, quality of life I'm getting here. So balancing quality of life versus all the stuff you have to nut through. The middle of the month, you feel like you're rushing into sort of problem solved. It's a historic issue. And you're concerned about perhaps the financial ramifications. End of the month, there is a group of people working together to perhaps probably problem solve this, and you're feeling much better and on the bright side. It's quite positive and rewarding, but there still is this element of frustration. Okay, so let's get a bit of clarity for you, Pisces, because I don't feel like I'm nailing what's happening. I feel like I'm missing something important. Alright, got the Rise Above card jumped out, so we'll just pop that back, the waves, and we'll see what's going on. Okay, for Pisces for June, can we explain that middle row? Because the middle row is the one that's stumping me. Okay, let's do a cut. Okay, lots of 2s. I was hoping that was going to be a 2 as well. That would have been cool. Okay, so we've got the 7 of Cups. Sorry, the 7 of Cups. Where's my brain at? The 7 out in the cold. The Bully, which is a 2. And Combinations, which is 2. So if we look at that, perhaps you are combining your skill set and nutting out a course of action. And the root of all of this is sort of that comfortability, that celebration of success. So perhaps there's something that you're working on that requires a bit of a juggling act and combining things. It still feels a bit fraught and unresolved, but the root of all of this is that it's like building towards an element of happiness. Then another number 2. So if we look at that sort of rushing in, the bullying, perhaps it's not so much a bully card in this instance, but there is definitely an element of missing out on something or on some sort of swift action that kind of pops your bubble. There's this yellow and this pentacle kind of make me feel like they're belonging together. So if I was to talk about this row, I would say that element of rushing in, that's quite surprising, still a little bit icky and not great feelings about it, but you do feel like there's something happening under the surface, and it has to do with money and a historical position. At the end of the month, we are looking more at, I think this card probably goes here. So perhaps even though you're working in a team and that it will have positive outcomes, you're still sort of feeling left like maybe you're a little bit solo and it's not necessarily going the way you thought. You're not feeling great about it, even though it appears to be working well. Out in the cold could be you're out in the cold or you've left someone out in the cold. So yeah, now I still want heaps more information about this. It is not telling me what I want to know. If you look at 2s, they're about creativity and communication. And if we look at, and they're also the beginning part of the cycle. And last month, if we look at what you had to do, you had choices to be made and you're in a bit of a different state of mind. So perhaps from those choices, it sort of led you to this element of the duality of this balancing act when you're trying to nut something out. It is for the greater good. The bully card, please. I want to get the bully card explained and out in the cold because they don't sit well. Okay, bully. And out in the cold. All right, so here's the date. Came up twice. I was ready to. Okay, so if we go back to this middle row, I would say you're trying to maybe control things, and that level of control is sort of seeing you rushing in, but it might mean that you're sort of maybe stepping on somebody's toes, but you're still looking forward, and this is definitely feeling about a level of security. So being in control, trying to control things that you can't control, and it's the beginning and the end of the Psychic Master or the Visionary Master suit. So I would suggest that things are feeling out of control. You're trying to control them, but there's this level of unknown, and perhaps this 2 and 2 is that there's some sort of historical connection, maybe some kind of mental hang-up you have from childhood. Going back to the end of the month, that level of feeling out in the cold, or maybe you've got to take control. So you rushed in here and you tried to take control, but maybe you're trying to control the wrong thing. This is sort of seize the day, make the most of it. Make the most of this sort of isolated time or this quiet time because it will get busier. Still want another card. Okay. Yeah, so you're going to have the strength to do this next phase. I think this is more up in your head. If we look at these cards, you know, there's this balancing act, there's this role playing, there's this combination of 2s to make 4s. So there's this working towards a successful outcome. In the middle of the month, you're feeling like you're not in control, that there's sort of this rushing state, this pause state, and there's some historical factors here. I'm seeing the number 2 a lot for this, 2 and 2 here. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 goes into 9 3 times. So you've kind of got all these sort of beginning of the month, beginning of an opportunity, beginning of a cycle, beginning of something. The end of the month, you will have to be strong enough. You can run with this and build something from this situation. So I think the Seize the Day card is here. Seize the opportunity to work with these people and it'll bring you a sunny, strengthening outcome. But really there is some level of isolation that you are feeling. So yeah, another card for you. I don't know why. Okay, so yeah, it's all about patience. So even though you've started this new thing that you're trying to nut out and to keep in balance, leading hopefully to some success, it feels the middle of the month is a bit fraught. There's some historical problems. but also you just don't feel like you're in control. There's this rush and this pause and this rush and this pause and there's this control and this out of control kind of feeling. And lastly, at the end of the month, you will need to be patient. This sort of working together will pay off, even if you feel like you're kind of doing it all on your own, feeling very frustrated. When we get these cards here, I think they belong very nicely with the Sun card, sort of saying, make the most of this, seize the energy, you have the power to do it, but it will take patience, which I don't know if Pisces are always that patient. So keep this one in mind. Okay, good luck, Pisces.